Alrighty, who is the best pony in Ponytown 2024? I did this last year in 2023 to find just the best pony that people would vote on in polls on my community post on my channel, and we did it again this year. I think we got much less submissions this year than we did last year, but either way, here's how it went. Of course, we had multiple categories, starting of course with the best pony OC. Here are the first four contestants. Clearly, Moth is taking the lead here and going straight to round two after this, and the others will have to hope that there's some other category they can fall into. Immediately, Moth moves on. In the second poll, we had Berry Ice and Jill and Rocky and Skeleton here, and of course, Berry Ice Pop is just skyrocketing here. They almost had some competition with Jill here. Interestingly enough, they had more percentage of votes in this one than they did the last one. Perhaps that is foreshadowing their eventual win, or perhaps not. But that means Berry Ice Pop moved on to the second round of the Best Pony OC contest. The third poll coming in had an uneven amount, so we ended up having two on the last poll. But we had a cow pony thing and a Luz. I don't even know what this is. Nightmare Night. I don't know. And the whole thing here is that this almost doubled the percentage of votes, and this is actually the most percentage we've had so far, but you can't really go off of that because these had 4 and these only had 2, so even though it had the most percentage out of everything so far, technically it probably would have been closer to like a 55% or something like that. But either way, Cow moves on again to round 2 of the Best Pony OC contest. That means in the final round, we'll have Cow versus Berry Ice Pop versus Moth in the final round for Best Pony OC. All the others will get discarded and perhaps used for something else. But moving on, this is indeed that poll, and we have Berry Ice Pop at 69% of the votes, Moth in second place with 20% of the votes, and Cow at 12% of the votes in third place there. So Berry Ice Pop, really, when it came down to these three, it's really shocking to see this, because it's always interesting, because I like to look at the percentages of the votes and stuff like that and try to use that as a way to gauge which one's going to win the final voting. And as you can see, like Moth and Berry Ice Pop and Cow were both very far ahead in votes, and they're also very close to each other in terms of percentage. But when it came down between these three, Berry Ice Pop was the clear favorite out of these three, which is crazy to think about, because honestly, I think all three of these are really great. Either way, they won with a perfect 69%, and I think that's pretty nice. So that is round 2, and that was the final round of Best Pony OC. So Berry Ice Pop is your Best Pony OC of 2024 in Ponytown. I hope you guys enjoyed that, but we have more categories to go through. So moving up next, we have the Best Cosplay in Ponytown. And again, I asked people to vote on the best, and the winners will move on to round 2. This one, again, with a perfect 69%. That was very nice. This one was no contest. Ernie just won like so fast. They were just in the lead from the beginning. They stayed in the lead the whole time. This one was really wacky to watch because I kept thinking, oh, not many people have voted, and that's why this one's so far ahead of the others. And then like it said like 300 people voted, and I'm like, oh shit, no, they're definitely winning this one. There's no way anyone else can catch up. And it did indeed move on to round 2, where the others stayed out of the game. They get tossed to the side or whatever else. But interestingly enough, they're all very close to 10% and next to each other. Cherry Outsiders being second place here is not too bad either. I think it's also pretty good. To be honest with you guys, though, the only character I know from any of this, of course, is Ernie. I don't know any of these other characters. Something else I want you guys to keep in mind is that I couldn't vote on any of these things because it's literally impossible for me to. Once I post them, it just shows the percentage next to them, and it will not let me click on any of them. So I couldn't vote on any of these, so there is no favoritism going on there. Of course, this is based purely on the audience that watches my channel or people that happen to run across these community posts. So out of 396 votes, Ernie from Sesame Street is going on to round 2 of Best Cosplay. And again, this time I did admit that I only knew one of these characters, and this time it was Ronald McDonald was the only one I knew, and it got second place. It was kind of close for a minute, I think, and of course Berry Boy ended up taking that at 50% of the votes and moving on to round 2. We had more cosplays than anything else. All the submissions I were getting were cosplays rather than OCs or non-ponies or anything else. Cosplays were the most common submission I got, so we have a lot more of those than we did anything else. But either way, this time I knew almost all of these. The only one I didn't know was Ever After. Hi, I never watched that. I obviously know Herobrine, and I obviously know Scar and Ghostface. But Ghostface, clear winner here. Honestly, in my opinion, this is a really good cosplay and the clear winner out of all of these. I'm honestly shocked that that. And I don't mean this in any negative way, but I'm really shocked that any of these other people got to double digits in terms of like the cosplay, because the Ghostface for me was so clearly better than all the other ones. And that's just my own personal opinion. Feel free to share your own about any of these in the comments below. But in my opinion, Ghostface was the clear winner here, and they obviously, the audience obviously agreed with me there, because they got 56% of the votes and took the win for that. And moving on to the second round of best cosplay, we have the last section of cosplays before we move on to the next round of cosplays to determine the winner. This one, I straight up didn't know any of the characters for this one. I still don't know any of the characters for this one. I don't know what's going on with any of that. But either way, for whatever reason, Finn from DW, whatever that is, got 63% of the votes. But either way, we moved on, of course, to round 2, where we put all of those cosplays together that won the previous round and mashed them together to see what the final winner is. And of course, as you can see here, Ernie won with 42% of the votes. This one was very close. Comparing it to the other categories that we did, this winner was a lot closer. Again, Ghostface coming in at second. Honestly, this one would have been a really hard decision for me, because the Ghostface and the Ernie are both extremely like good in terms of quality. I can't really say much about Barry's boy, because I don't know what Barry Boy is. I don't know what they're supposed to look like. The character itself looks fine, but to me, this would have been a really hard choice between Ernie and Ghostface. But Ernie takes it in with 408 votes. They got 42% of those votes and have won your best cosplay category. So congratulations, Ernie, Sesame Street. You won best cosplay in 2024. But we have one more category to go to, and then also like a super secret extra category there. But moving on, we had the best non-pony. This is the next category in the best pony contest. The category is best non-ponies. Banana, I'm very sad, but Banana only got 8% of the votes and did not move on. Cat, the clear winner here. And again, this one to me felt pretty obvious too. To me, I think the Cat looked the best out of all of these. I'm obviously very partial to the Banana and stuff like that. Honestly, all of these look pretty good, but I think the Cat is the winner in my eyes, and it clearly won here as well with 62% of the votes. But we have more rounds in this category, so moving on to the second section of characters here, we have 3 characters, a Mexico zombie for some reason. I don't know what that's about. But anyway, the Mexico zombie won at 48% of the votes. This one was a lot closer as well, because the Dragon But Barry actually was really close to taking that spot from them. And of course, Alien right there in between them. But this was very close between these two, and I was very excited about this, because I love these close ones. I love it when they're like really close. I hate it when there's like super obvious winners and stuff like that. And this one, in my opinion, I'm gonna be honest, like I always am, I'm not a huge fan of any of these characters here. I genuinely don't care too much for any of them, so it's really hard for me to have voted if I had voted, which I didn't. But if I was to vote, I would probably skip this one because I'm not a huge fan of either of these. They're all about the same quality to me, so it's pretty close there. And that's probably, other people probably agree to that as well, because out of 524 votes, we had a pretty close matchup between Mexico Zombie and Barry, or Dragon But Barry. But that is all of the non-pony categories, so we move on to round 2 of the non-pony categories, which will determine our winner. And if you look up at this poll here, Zombie losing 15% and Cat winning at 85%. Again, this one felt really clear to me as well, but of course it's up for the people to decide. And out of 607 votes, which I think might have been the most votes we got out of any of these polls so far, Cat won at 85% of those votes. So good job, Cat. You are the best non-pony in 2024. Here's your invisible reward, and we'll move on to that final category. So what I wanted to do for this final category is I wanted to take the winners from every previous category and put them into one final poll and see what people would vote on that way. Because if you think about it, in theory, this would determine the real best pony of 2024, if you think about it. Instead of calling it the real best pony of 2024, though, I decided to call it the best overall kind of thing there. So let's move on to that poll there, which is, of course, the Cat versus Barry Ice Pop versus Ernie from Sesame Street. I mashed all the categories together for one final poll. Which do you think is the best? And out of 551 votes, it was pretty close between Cat and Barry Ice Pop, but the real winner was Ernie from Sesame Street, again getting a 42%. Now I want to double check this real quick, but I think when Ernie won in their category, they also had 42%. So let's look back on that real quick. They did. That's crazy to think about. It was the same exact number of people choosing Ernie in the final poll as they did in this one. But yeah, when they won this category, they they got 42% of the votes. And then the same thing happened here in the final one, which is crazy to think about. That's so crazy. I didn't even notice that until just now. That's kind of cool. But at the end of the day, Ernie is your clear winner for the best overall pony in 2024. So congratulations, Ernie from Sesame Street. You are the winner of the best overall pony in 2024. Second place, of course, is Cat at 29% of the votes. And third place is Berry Ice Pop at 28%. Congratulations to all the winners, and I hope you guys very much enjoyed this. Last year, we had much more submissions. There was a lot more polls involved and stuff like that and everything. And it was a blast then, too. I'm going to try to do this every year as long as I can remember it. So next year, at the end of 2025, please do remind me or something like that if I don't bring it up. But we're going to try to do the same categories, best non-pony and everything else like that. We're going to try to make it a little bit more clear and obvious and stuff like that. Some of the other images, none of them are consistent in size because everyone's taking a screenshot differently. Honestly, the Berry Ice Pop, they probably did the smart thing. I mean, I don't know exactly what they did, but I think they literally just used the game itself. So I think they just went to edit their character, and they went over to, where is it at right here? They went over to this and made sure it was like standing, or I guess they chose boop or something like that. They set their settings to look like this, where it's head only. Actually, we don't need head only. They fixed their settings to look something a bit like this, and then they just hit the PNG button, and it exported it as a PNG, and then they just sent me that. That is the best way to send the image for these things. You could also take a screenshot, of course. That's like what Rocky did, Skeleton. That's what a lot of people did. Looks like Nugget also sent like a GIF, and that's why their thing is weird. But that's kind of essentially the thing. Like, people sent images, and some of them were weird, and some of them were different. Some of them were cropped and different. And I pretty much made it a rule for myself. I don't think I actually said this, but I basically made it a rule myself that I wasn't going to crop any images. I wasn't going to do anything with the images themselves because I didn't want to like do something that might influence people's decisions and stuff like that. And someone did point out that some of the smaller characters might get more votes because there's more zoomed in ones, you can see more of the details. So for example, in this one, Berry Ice Pop is more zoomed in than the other two, and it won. Is that a coincidence? Perhaps, perhaps not, who knows, but you can see more detail and you can see more of Berry Ice Pop in this image than you can Moth or Cow. Same thing over here, except immediately that theory kind of gets debunked a little bit because Ernie is very small, and not only did they win their best cosplay, but they won the best overall at the end as well. So it's kind of an interesting thing there. I think the images definitely influence people's decisions. I know the comments will as well, but either way, I don't really think I have much else to say. This was a really fun experience. This is always a fun thing to do, and I can't wait to do it again next year. I want to do something similar to this, but not quite this. So if you guys have a Pokemon cosplay, please do send an image of it in my Discord server. I'll leave a link for it in the description below, or you can just message me on Discord. You can message me on Blue Sky if you wanted to, any of those places like that. Just message me and say, hey, I have this Pokemon cosplay. You said you wanted to see it for a video or something like that. I very much do want to see it for a video, so please do send it to me, and we will do some fun stuff with that. But it has to be specifically a Pokemon cosplay, and I'm not talking about like Ash or like Team Rocket or something like that. It needs to be an actual Pokemon like Meowth or Arcanine or some other Pokemon, right? Just an actual Pokemon itself, not just like the characters from the universe, but the actual Pokemon themselves. So that's what I'm looking for right now. It's not going to be a poll type situation like this or anything like that. It's not going to be like a contest like that or anything like that, but there's something really fun I want to do with it, and I think it could be fun to get them from you guys rather than trying to make them myself, because I cannot make characters for shit. So either way, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please do consider liking, subscribing, sharing, and doing all of those wonderful things like that, because when you do wonderful things like that, not only do you get access to wonderful content such as this, but you also get to become wonderful yourself, and I think we all want that. So do those wonderful things, and until next time, stay wonderful.